Kids Rock, welcome! I'm Maddie Lowe and I'm super excited to tell you all about our new series called Boo! Ah! Just scared myself a little bit on that one. But in this new series called Boo! Ah! I gotta stop doing that. It's all about how we need to not focus on everyone else around us, but we need to focus on ourselves. So if you're on campus right now, we are about to get started into our worship warm-up. So find your worship leader and get ready for that. If you are online, then you will go right into the Bible story of the week.
Okay, and we're going to be reading from John 8, 1 through 11. Jesus returned to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning he was back again at the temple. A crowd soon gathered and he sat down and taught them. As he was speaking, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery. They put her in front of the crowd. "Teacher," they said to Jesus, "this woman was caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say?" Then they were trying to trap him into saying something they could use against him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, "All right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone." Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, "Where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you?" "No, Lord," she said. And Jesus said, "Neither do I. Go and sin no more."
Imagine this. You're in your house with your brother or your sister. You took all the cushions off the couch, you laid them on the floor, made this perfect crash bag, and you're jumping off doing cannonballs straight into the mat. That would be crazy. And then suddenly you jump a little too far, you knock into the table knocks over the lamp, it cracks and crashes everywhere. Oh my goodness. And from the other room, you hear your mom or dad yell your name and scream, "What happened?" Now be honest. Most of us would probably point at our brother and sister and be like, well, he did, what? They were jumping too. Why do we do this? Because we think that pointing at fingers at other people or pointing out other people's mistakes will help us feel better about ourselves. Why? This is exactly what the Pharisees did in John 8. They started pointing fingers at this woman who had been caught up in her sin, and they wanted to make it public because they wanted to take the attention off of their own sins. Yes, it was true that the woman had sinned and made a mistake, but these Pharisees acted like they had never made a mistake in their life or that they had no love in their heart. The truth is, when we make poor choices, we need to take responsibility for them. What that looks like is apologizing for our mistakes and asking Jesus for forgiveness in those things. And it's really hard for us to be forgiven when we're pointing fingers at others and we're making them feel bad about their mistakes. Because just like the Pharisees, if we're too busy trying to cover up all of our mistakes, we're gonna miss what Jesus truly wants for us, and we're gonna miss the true love that Jesus has for us, and he wants to give us the best life possible. And if we own up to our mistakes and sins, we can begin to heal and feel the true love that Jesus has for us. Now it's time for some questions. Question 1. Question 2. And question 3.
And over the next 4 weeks in our series Boo, we're going to be going over the scripture verse, Galatians 6:1. And if you remember this verse, you might get something special. It's a surprise. But if you don't remember it, we're going to hunt you down. And then there's no telling what we're going to do when we find you. So remember this verse. Galatians 6:1 says this: "Dear brothers and sisters, if another believer is overcome by some sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path. And be careful not to fall into the same temptation yourself." Okay, we're going into a time of small groups now. So if you're on campus watching this, you're going to go into your small groups. But if you're watching online, we will see you next week. We love you. Have an awesome week. Bye, guys.